This week on the Computer Chronicles, software for kids. Many parents buy a new computer for their children, and with good reason. The computer can be a great learning tool. Today we'll show you the amazing writing machine that makes learning English fun. We'll look at how would you survive an interactive way to learn about world history and culture. 3D Atlas is another cool program that makes geography fun. And we'll introduce you to KidLink, a part of cyberspace reserved just for kids from all over the world. Plus a visit to a children's computer trade show and a look at an elementary school where even kids in first grade have a network ID and password. All this plus Giles Online, this week's computer news, and my pick of the week, coming up next on the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by Hewlett-Packard Personal Computers, developing PCs for business. Additional funding from the Software Publishers Association, providers of educational materials to help manage software. Don't copy that floppy.
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee. If you recently bought a computer for your kids, you're probably thinking now about what new software to buy for them. Computers can be a great learning tool for children, and today we're going to show you some examples of why all kids and most teachers love computers. We're going to start out with a program that teaches good writing skills. It's called the Amazing Writing Machine, and here to show it to us is Stephen Ward, who's a sixth grader from Mill Valley, California. Steve, how you doing?
Good.
All right, this is the basic menu, Steve, that you can pick the things you want to do?
Yeah, you can write an essay, a letter, a story, a poem, a journal.
All right, so if you wanted to write a story, how does that work?
Well, you click here, and then click on write, and then you can
This is like the title page of your book?
Right, you can decorate that with just...
You put a little graphic on there?
Yeah.
Okay, and then...
Then when you wanted to write it, you come down here.
So you just go in there and just write the name of your story?
Right. You can come up here to noisy typing.
So it's sort of fun every time you hit a key, something's going to happen. Or show us.
You can,
Okay. The blue guy by
And then I say...
Oh. All right. We know what you wanted to do.
Okay, well, anyhow.
All right, let's go back to the basic, and then you would just write your story in here, right? Go back to the basic story, and I want you to show me that spin thing, which is kind of cool.
Okay. Wheel.
So we just go back to Project Picker, I guess, and we can dump that.
Right.
Okay, so show me what happens with spin when you do story.
Okay.
So what are you doing here?
You pick a story, and then...
So it's loading up a predetermined story.
Right.
So the story's already written, but you can go in there and play around and change it.
Yeah.
So show me how you do that.
Go here, and then...
Oh, so anything that's in a box, you can change it from whatever. So spin? So from red eyes to green ears to whatever?
From long to...
All right, so that's cool because it kind of gives you a format in which to write. All right, now show us, do the letter thing, because you wrote a letter and you can use rebuses, which is kind of fun too. So see if we can get back to that one. So you have to go back to Pickering? Okay. We'll dump it.
And then we come to...
Okay, so you're going to open a letter you've already written? Is that the deal? Okay.
We can go to writing. And then letter.
Letter to baby Eric. So this is a cousin of yours you wrote a letter to or something?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so you make cool envelopes.
Yep. Okay, now we have...
So if you wanted to do rebuses just for fun, how do you do that?
Click here, and then you have to highlight whatever you want to put into rebus.
Okay.
So I'm going to...
Just sort of grab it. There you go.
I'm going to highlight this.
And say, please use rebuses whenever you can. So it does cute things like R and to and you and stuff. All right, there's a couple really educational things in there. Show me the spell checker so you can check on your spelling. Could you do that in the letter?
Sure. Check spelling. You just go up to goodies.
So it found a word that it didn't recognize in the dictionary. All right, now Infosaurus, what is that? Show me that one.
Okay, this is for poems. Well, you can use this for poems. You type in a word.
So if you're writing a poem, you can get rhymes for it.
Yeah. You can't think of anything that rhymes with deer.
So what we want to do?
You find rhyme, and it just scrolls.
Okay, real quick, show me bright ideas, because that's really fun. If you're not sure what to write, it gives you suggestions, right? So we'll get out of that. So you're going to say, I want to write a story, but I'm not sure what to write.
Okay. Now we can...
Oh, I see.
And it says,
Okay,
imagine that you are scuba diving, you know, and
yeah.
find
So
a
get
second
another
guy.
idea after that? Just click it again?
Right, yeah.
What if a spaceship landed in your backyard? So it really kind of generates your thinking ideas.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. Thanks a lot, Steve.
right.
There are a lot of good educational software programs on the market. It's hard to figure out which ones you should buy. One solution to that problem is the annual Children's Multimedia Expo. It's a computer trade show just for kids.
If some of the visitors to this trade show wore jackets and ties, it's because their teachers told them to. The 1995 Children's Multimedia Expo was held in San Francisco, and it attracted a very excited group of very young software testers. The Expo's tables were arranged by age group, from preschool to high school. Hundreds of youngsters showed up, providing an authentic group of hands-on users.
A lot of times, the perspective of the software companies is programming and then bringing it to an adult exposition. And a lot of times they miss the feedback from the actual users. And much as any kind of computer product, you want to get the feedback from the people who actually are going to use it and make sure that it serves their needs.
For middle school students, Vicarious demonstrated Our Times, a multimedia encyclopedia. The CD's 52,000 articles contain 65,000 hypertext links and 2 hours of narration.
1950 to 1959. The 50s were a time of prosperity.
Alongside the audio and video clips, Our Times contains the full text of the one-volume Columbia Encyclopedia. For younger users, Splash Studios unveiled Piper, an interactive video-based game combining live actors with animated rats. The story is loosely based on the Pied Piper of Hamelin and asks players to find hidden items, read maps, and rescue the good guys.
Don't let those humans get away! I really hate humans.
At the toddler level, Sega introduced an unusual hardware and software combination called the Pico. Kiddie users interact through a touchpad instead of a keyboard. Picture books accompany the different software modules, which include alphabet lessons, a paint program, and counting games. To most parents, some or many of the products on display may look like time-wasting games, but to the trained eye, there are subtle differences.
One of the things that I personally look at is the level of thinking that's involved in the program, whether we're doing higher level thinking here and whether that it's encouraging the children. That's a particular area for me that I have spent quite a bit of time studying, so I'm interested in that.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Giles Bateman.
Well, let's face it, some kids just find some subjects in school boring. But it's hard to find a young person who thinks computers are boring, ergo, teach them on a computer. Here to show us a great program that makes learning world history fun is Sarah Meyer, and Sarah's a 4th grader from Novato, California. Sarah, tell me a little bit about this program.
Well, it teaches you about the Egyptians, the Vikings, and the Aztecs. And you can go into their world and find out if you survived or not. By
All right, so we're in Egypt right now?
Yeah.
So you can sort of just explore what it would be like to live in that colony in Egypt?
And you can see what the inside of the buildings look like.
So you can peel away the wall.
Yeah, by clicking on that. And if you want to go over this way, you just bring that over there.
Okay, now the little eye thing at the bottom are quizzes, right? And you can ask yourself a question about the Egyptians. So let's try take one of these little quizzes and see how that works. So it's so you can pick any one of those questions.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question. Which statement about Egyptian houses is true? A, all Egyptian houses are made of mud, even the pharaohs. B, most Egyptian houses are made of mud, the pharaohs use a stone. Or C, some Egyptian houses are made of mud, if you're rich you use stone. What do you think?
Let's try
C thing? Okay, let's try C.
That was wrong.
Wrong. Now we can go in there and find out why it was wrong and explore more.
If there's a picture then you can go there and it would tell you all about it and show you, tell you the answer.
Okay, but we didn't get a picture on that one, huh? Okay, so let's ask another question now. Let's see. Okay, you dream that your teeth are falling out. What does this mean if you're an Egyptian? Someone very dear is about to die. You live to be very old. You become an important leader. What do you think? You guess.
It's
All
Toby.
right, B.
As long as
No.
you got a picture.
Okay, so if you click on the picture, it'll give us background on that?
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll
so
tell you about that thing, the question that
okay,
they
so
just
maybe
had.
we'd get the right answer if we tried it the second time, huh? Okay, so these are the
Wild
superstitions
creatures,
these
sandstorms, not enough food. With so many things to fear, you'd better know the signs of good and bad
Okay,
luck.
now go to, I want to show how you do the Aztecs and the Vikings things too. Now, we don't have choices here, but if you went to the table of contents, we could do that, right?
This is the table of contents,
Okay.
and you can pick maybe your
Okay,
family.
so if we want to find, so if you, in the upper right there, if you would click on, what's it do now? Loading a family story.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, so if we wanted to jump and deal with the same issue only with the Vikings, you would just click on that Viking stone?
Yeah, right here. These are the Vikings.
And then we could have done the same thing with the Aztec mark.
Yeah, and it would bring you to the same thing.
So if we're dealing with a family problem with the Egyptians, we could take the same problem, go to the Vikings, take the same problem, go to the Aztecs. And you play with this yourself? Do you learn from it? You like it?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to leave you. We're out of time. Thanks, Sarah. All right, if you want to put a kid to sleep, say, I want to teach you some geography. It is not everyone's favorite subject, but once again, with a computer, it becomes a dynamic, interactive learning experience. Here to show us 3D Atlas is Julia Derringer, an 8th grader from Foster City. Julia, how does 3D Atlas work?
3D Atlas is a program that shows you the different features of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you find these features are either by clicking on the globe or going up to the menus on the top or by using the find box.
So you have 3 different views of the globe you can look at, is that right?
Yeah.
And we're in environmental right now?
Yeah, we're in environmental.
So what else can we discover right now?
Right now we can find different countries.
Okay.
By clicking on a place on the globe, it'll highlight a country.
Mm-hmm.
You can either double click on that or click on the flag to get more information about it. This is the data card. It gives you general information about the country you clicked on. And you can also see a few pictures about this country.
Okay, so let's go back now. There were 2 other views of the globe you can look at then, is that right?
Yeah. You can look at a physical globe, which shows the rise and the fall of the land by using colors. And you can also show a political globe.
That would be actual countries and stuff, right?
Yeah. And all the globes in 3D Atlas are interactive.
Okay.
So
Now, suppose I want to look at cities and explore cities, not just countries. How do I do that?
You go up to display and choose cities.
Oh, I see. So you can look at, I can pick out rivers or cities or volcanoes or anything like that.
Yeah, and if you want to find the distance from one city to another, you simply drag.
Too hard to pronounce cities in China.
Yeah.
Okay. And it says it's 320 miles from whatever it is to whatever it is. Okay, now let's go back to the different views again. There were a couple interesting things I wanted to see there.
Okay.
Like there's something called 3D Fly. What is that?
Oh yeah, the 3D flight is a flight over a certain area. I'm going to choose Sheep Mountain because that's really colorful.
Okay, and that's where in Wyoming it looks like in the United States?
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
The colors used in this animation would be familiar to an exploration geologist using satellite imagery to help
Okay, so
locate
there's movies in here
mineral
too. Now, what's really cool about 3D Atlas is not just all these pictures, but there's a lot of real information, a lot of statistics. Show me how you would look that stuff up.
You'd go to the contents menu and go down to statistics. And right now we're on the fertility rate per woman in different countries. And
so you can pick a year on that scale at the bottom, and then pick a country or pick the whole world and compare fertility rates in different countries, huh?
Yeah, and the colors show you how many babies each woman is having.
And what are the different views? I mean, how else can we see that information in an easier way?
You can see it in a line chart where you can compare.
Oh, okay, like yellow is
6
Kenya,
different-
and the other two were Denmark and Luxembourg. I see.
Yeah. And
Okay, and what other ways can we look at it?
there's also a bar chart and a scatter chart. So that's real nice. And you can print any of the pictures.
So this would be great if you're doing homework or doing
Yeah.
a report for school. You can look up the information and then like take down the pictures for your report.
Yeah.
Okay, it's called 3D Atlas.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, it's very cool to have your own computer and be able to play with software like this, but at school, some kids are lucky enough to have access to incredible computer resources. One of the best schools we found was Bryant Elementary in San Francisco.
Please go to Compton.
At the Bryant Elementary School in San Francisco, students are never far from a computer. The networked terminals are in all the classrooms, including kindergarten, and there is a well-equipped multimedia lab as well.
Periods. They were about 50 feet long and often preyed on the stegosaurs.
The generous supply of high-tech hardware is not just for show. Kids, some barely just able to read, are creating multimedia presentations, including their own poetry. There is a holiday class cooking project that requires students to find and adapt recipes from the internet, and the school's technology director sees the projects as a way to make PCs a part of the curriculum.
But as the technology has evolved, we have found that our methodologies and all have changed also. We do not have students do computers, but we want the students to utilize the computers and the technology as tools. And from there, we saw that the place computers should be is in the classrooms. Also, it should be there just as much as a blackboard and chalk.
Do you guys have any questions about the story?
Okay.
That you want to ask me? You want to quiz me about?
We have a question here.
The Bryant School recently added video conferencing to its computer curriculum. Students are now connected via cyberspace to other schools. One class meets regularly to practice Spanish with a school located over 100 miles away. As an added bonus, they are using the link to interview favorite performers from the PBS Children's Television Workshop. The easy availability of PC hardware during the first years of school does have one side effect. Graduating students discovered that not every school has the same approach.
They have used almost every type of technology available today. And when they go into middle school, they come to a crashing halt. Now, this is what I hear from the students that return to Bryant. They end up on Apple IIes doing keyboarding. And they come back and they say, you were right. We can never have anything. We don't have a chance to utilize the computers, or they don't have enough. We don't do anything that's fun. Fun meaning where they are in control. There should be a continuity that runs, or a thread that runs through the schools, where the students after 6 years do not march off into another school and drop off into Never Never Land.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Giles Bateman.
We hear a lot of talk about kids finding bad stuff online, but it's important to remember that there is an awful lot of good stuff online for children too. One example is KidLink, a global computer project that links kids from around the world. Our KidLink expert is Clay Boshin, a 6th grader who's from San Rafael, California. All right, Clay, tell me, what is KidLink? What are you doing right now?
Right now I'm on KidLink IRC and in a session called Kid Club, and we basically talk about one subject in Kid Club, and it goes on every Saturday, or almost every Saturday. There's 2 different parts of Kid Club. There's sometimes one called Writer's Corner, and one where you just talk about a certain subject. You can
Okay,
talk
so what's the
about
subject in Kid Club today that we're on right now?
Today it's popularity, like who's popular at your school.
So how to be popular in school and stuff
or like
that?
who's popular in your school, like how people are popular like that.
Could you just get in here and get into the conversation and kind of show us what's going on in the chat? So just tell us what you're doing as you do it there.
Okay, so people are talking about, like, some people are talking about who's popular in their elementary school, who's popular in their middle school, how they do it, like why, or who is like just sort of like that.
And how old are the kids that are in Kid Club generally?
There are people who are adults, and they
so I see there's a name with a big capital A in front of it. That means that's an adult in the conversation. So you guys want to know who's an adult here?
Yeah, and T stands for a team member, an IRC team member. They moderate this stuff. And otherwise, there are people 15 and younger who just have regular names.
And this is around the world, right? I mean, you're talking to kids in, what, 30-some countries?
Actually, there are 74 countries participating in KidLink.
And how many kids are involved in the thing?
A little over 30,000.
And what's cool is we see you're using a pretty old Mac SE30 here, so I mean, you don't need a powerful computer to do this stuff, right?
You can even use an old Apple II or a computer like that.
Okay, so now, why do you do this? I mean, what's the benefit, of getting into Kid Club on a Saturday morning?
You can have fun talking with different kids, and you can talk about any subject you like. It's not only Kid Club. You can, on days other than Saturday or after Saturday, you can talk about anything you like in KidLink IRC, and you sort of benefit from it because you talk with different kids about a certain subject that may be like close to you. You want to know what's happening around them in their area.
And would you actually do school stuff too? I mean, could you get help on your homework? You can't figure something out and talk to your classmates?
Because there are people of all ages that probably have already gone through what you have and they know how to do it, and know how to work whatever you're trying to use.
Does this take the place of like playing with real kids in person, like on a Saturday?
Sort of, but since you can't see images or you can't like feel them or anything like that, it usually does, but also it doesn't, sort of at the same time, because you can talk with them as much as you want, but...
And they can be anywhere in the world.
Yeah, but they're not local to you.
Right.
Most of them aren't local to you, and you can't run up to them and whisper something to them.
One other quick thing, Clay. I know parents sometimes are concerned that, there's bad stuff and dirty stuff goes on online, and you, in fact, have, like, filters you can build in, like something you showed me called Swear Protect or something. Explain that quickly.
That just sort of, that works with the IRC2 programming language, and... I ran it when I was able to get on with my IRC2 client on KidLink, which I've rarely ever done, and it sort of takes any swear word that comes up on the screen and just writes a little bleep where in place of that little swear word.
Okay.
So it's pretty humorous.
So it's KidLink. Thanks a lot, Clay. All right, there is a lot of great stuff for children in cyberspace besides KidLink. We asked our netmaster, Giles Bateman, for some other ideas on cyber sites for kids.
Thanks, Stuart. I want you to know that I took this assignment very seriously and did not have any fun as I was researching the different sites online. Well, if you're on America Online, say your parents use it, you definitely don't want to miss the kids-only section. I'm going to go in there. I know, well, I guess I do qualify. We'll call it up. It's got a bunch of well-organized stuff for every kid out there. It's everything from comics to Disney to National Geographic. But what I think is especially useful is a collection of good websites for kids. So these have been checked out by the America Online folks, so you know they're safe. Going out onto the web, if you already have an account, you definitely want to check out Beekman and Jack's place. This has got a lot of scientific experiments, pictures from the Hubble Space Telescope, and what I think is a great collection of questions. They're under construction, they say, but they've already got over 30 good questions, in this case, questions and answers. How does a lever make you stronger, with good explanations? And last but not least, we have the Storm Easy Photos site. Storm makes scanners that will scan actual little snapshots, and kids in schools all around the nation are going to be using these with Storm's program to share pictures and information about their schools.
Now it's time for our weekly summary of what's new in the field of personal computing. Here's this week's Random Access.
In the Random Access file this week, the new year always opens for the techies with two major trade shows, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas and Macworld in San Francisco. At CES, the big news was DVD, digital video discs, new generation CDs that can hold nearly 5 gigabytes of data. Other big news at CES was faster Pentiums. Intel launched new 150 and 166 megahertz CPUs, and IBM immediately announced new Aptiva models incorporating the super-fast Pentiums. And Compaq announced a partnership with toy maker Fisher-Price for a new line of computer peripherals aimed at preschoolers. At Macworld in San Francisco, lots of new Mac products. The big news was Apple's first ever showing of a PCI-based Power Mac. The new Macs come with PC compatibility cards that run Intel Pentiums or the Cyrix 586 microprocessor. Hewlett-Packard, the fastest growing PC maker, has added 2 new high-end models to its Pavilion line of home PCs, taking advantage of the new 150 and 166 megahertz Pentium chips. They will come bundled with a 28.8 modem quad-speed CD-ROM drive and 64-bit MPEG graphics capability. If you own a zip drive, iOmega says there is now a portable power pack available. The power pack is the size of a deck of cards, weighs only 8 ounces, and can run your zip drive for hours on a charge. Nashville has apparently been pirated and uploaded to the internet in the Where's News group. Nashville is the code name for the expected upgrade to Windows 95. The product is still in development and not even in beta test. Microsoft says it is working with the FBI to locate the source of the upload, and it is trying to depost it from the net. And finally, stand by for political ads on the internet. A new study by a company called VoteLink says net users are very politically active. While only 34% of the population at large voted in the last national election, 86% of net users went to the polls. That's it for this week's Random Access. Back to you, Stuart.
Now for my pick of the week. Well, we've spent a whole show looking at kids and computers, and we haven't looked at one game just for fun. So I thought I would tell you about a great game that's fun for kids and for grown-ups. Billiards or pool is a great game of skill, but sometimes you might not want to take your young children to a pool hall or billiards parlor. Well, you can now play an incredibly realistic game of pool on your computer with a CD-ROM called Virtual Pool from Interplay. This is as close as it gets to really getting chalk on your fingers. This is the best pool simulation yet. You can actually walk around the table and look at your shot from different angles. You can choose several different games of pool to play. You can play the computer or other human opponents, and you can set up trick shots. You can even learn about the history of the game. It's a terrific program that's a lot of fun and also teaches you quite a bit about physics and geometry. It's Virtual Pool from Interplay. That's it for this week's Computer Chronicles. We'll be back here again next week with another